Welcome to Enjoy the Process, where through our series, The Best Is Yet to Come, we have been tackling this very, very secret sauce that hardly anyone does when it comes to goal setting, is enjoying the process of what you're doing and not just being excited about the product. The goal is good. It's good to kind of look at that as the North Star of what God wants for you, but until you can really grasp onto what you are doing and finding joy in doing that thing, you're not going to be able to do and fulfill when motivation starts to run dry. So today I want to give you the biggest speed bump to enjoying the process, and one that frankly is the struggle that most of us have that keeps us from enjoying the stages of the process of where God wants us to be, and that is the fact that comparison kills joy. How much do you find yourself comparing to other people? How often do you find yourself looking at what you have and what you've got going on and saying, well, I don't have this, and this person has that, and how come that person's doing this, and this person paid that off, this person went on that vacation, and I can't do this, and you start to use that kind of language. How often does that happen for you? I want to let you know that if you want to enjoy the process, you have to cut out all comparison. There's ways that we compare ourselves that are truly, truly toxic. The first way is we compare our behind-the-scenes struggles to somebody else's highlight reel. You're comparing what is happening to you when nobody's looking to what happens to the person and what they posted on Instagram. You don't know what that person's going through. You have no idea what their struggles are. And yet here you are finding yourself envying a stage of life that you're not even really sure what's going on in that stage. Another thing that we tend to do, we tend to compare the beginning of something great that we're doing to the middle or the end of something great that somebody else did. It's like very, very toxic, because what we do is we look at somebody else that did something successful and we say, well, how come we can't do that? Well, the reason why we can't do that is because they've been at it a long time. This happens a lot when people are making goals about their finances. They'll say, well, my parents did X, Y, and Z. Well, yeah, your parents had a lot more living under their belt than you. Your parents lived in a different time. Your parents didn't go through a global pandemic when they were your age. There's a lot of different factors. So often when we compare ourselves to others, all it does is cause us to get in our head and make us not enjoy any part of the process. So there's a passage, and it's really interesting that the Apostle Paul writes about this in his second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 10, verse 12. He says, not that we dare to classify or compare ourselves with some of those who are commending themselves. He's talking about people that are puffing themselves up. He says, but when they measure themselves by one another and compare themselves with one another, they are without understanding. He says they are dumb. That's what he says. They're dumb. In a non-aggressive way, he says that. It's not helpful. And if you notice in the New Testament, when the Apostle Paul talks about it, he focuses on, number one, what God wants him to do, and number two, what it is that he has come out of and come through, and what it is that God wants him to focus on in the future. He's not focusing on, well, this apostle did this, and this person did that, and that person did this. I should be further along. No, he's focusing on his own race, his own lane. The only person you should ever compare yourself to is the previous or future version of yourself. You don't want to go into the process that you are trying to create in 2023 looking at somebody else that's killing it better than you. You have no idea what's going on in their story. You have no idea what has happened to them. You have no idea. You're only seeing what they have chosen for you to see. So my encouragement is just stop all comparison. Stay in your lane. Put the blinders on. Keep your nose to the grindstone. Keep focusing on the Lord and what He wants you to do, and enjoy the process.